So when you do this on your own, you don't have to do it exactly the way I talked through it. Really, the idea with it is generate some gratitude toward the person that you're talking with, create some awareness of any good fortune that they have, and that sort of thing, and then be happy for their good fortune. So that's the bottom line. But that way that we did it, I find pretty useful in that way. So any questions? Anything come up? Anybody want to share? Or any questions you have? Yeah, when you first start doing this, and this is true of any of these cultivations, it's you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you pick someone who's causing you a whole lot of trouble right then at that particular moment. Now, you're not a bad person for wishing somebody. Anger is a natural emotion, not necessarily a helpful or skillful emotion, but it's a natural emotion. It's going to arise. You don't have a lot of control over that. We have a fairly limited amount of control over what comes up. We have a lot of control over what we do with it, although that's not absolute either. So when anger or ill will arise, that doesn't make you bad. That doesn't prove that you're evil or anything like that. It's simply a thought that has arisen that's probably got physical sensations attached to it and all of that, and you start to give it meaning. So when that comes up, acknowledge it. It's part of the experience of this particular moment, and try to come back to this particular moment. Don't get caught up in the storyline. Now, that's really easy for me to sit here and say. It's a lot more difficult to do when you're having a tough time. So it's better to practice this with a situation that's not maybe quite as close and personal first, until you get some skill at letting go of these thoughts as they come up, and then turn them to that. And also recognize that, look, the situation's not going to last forever. The feelings aren't going to last forever. This is a learning opportunity for you. That doesn't make it a lot easier. And you're still going to be dealing with some very human emotions and thoughts and situations, because you had the mixed blessing of being born a human being. So yeah, work with, some Republican politician first or something like that. And if you do want to come to that, do it in short doses. And when you start, and this is true of all of these, when you're doing this and you start getting some really strong stuff coming up that you just kind of can't deal with, or it's more than you can deal with right now, just go back to meditating on your breath for a minute. Let it all go. Just meditate on your breath for a little while. Turn to somebody different. This is incredibly powerful, and you can overcome some really difficult emotional situations by doing this practice, but it takes practice. And Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was loving kindness and compassion. So you kind of have to work your way up to it. So don't expect too much of yourself. I mean, you're a human being, and you're going through a tough time, and there's going to be some difficulties. And equanimity is probably going to be the most helpful thing you can bring to this process. I sometimes feel like you almost should start with equanimity first, but it really is. They're equally important. And again, there's 4 of these, and you kind of bring to it what the situation calls for. So when you get to somebody who's a situation that's really challenging, if you can just bring some balance, then that will help you with all the other stuff too. And a good thing for you to do right now too would be just work with Nikon, and not toward anyone in particular, but just sort of the daily Nikon. What good stuff did I get today? What good stuff did I give today? What difficulties did I cause today? And not about anyone in particular, just look back over the day. Because it will help you if you can get into a frame of mind where you're moving a little bit more aware of the positivity in your life. That would probably be beneficial. By not watching the news and noticing how bad everything is? No, I wouldn't call it cheating. I'd call that realistic. You know, again, it depends on your state of mind and what's going on with you and all of that. I mean, at the news, a lot of really smart people make a whole lot of money sensationalizing stuff and editing things and everything, so that they will really appeal to that part of us that wants to look at the tragic and catastrophic in life. You know, it's kind of like, if it were not a socially irresponsible thing to say, I would say turn off the TV until the end of 2016. You know, because of the elections coming up. You know, there's all these people who they've developed making you angry to an art form, you know, and they're really, really good at it. So that you're going to have these messages coming at you going, oh, get angry at this guy. No, get angry at this guy, you know. Well, vote anyway, but just recognize that you're getting these kinds of messages and stuff, and part of skillfulness is to really not look for reasons to get angry, look for reasons to get depressed and stuff. Don't avoid reality, but don't go out of your way to immerse yourself in it either. You know, that variety of stuff. Does that make sense? The Toto Institute does a distance learning program in Nikon once a year, and if that sort of thing is really resonating with you, it's a neat program to do. It's 30 days, and you really kind of immerse yourself in that process. And they start by doing things like have you calculate how many loads of laundry your mother did for you. It's like, oh no, God, I'm such a loser. Why are other people doing all this stuff for me? You know, but it really does help put stuff in perspective. You know, how many meals are provided for you, things like that.